We have this culture that is so rich and so strong, and it's all coming out, like all the colors and all the sounds and everything like that, and it's like it's real, and you could really feel that, and like that's why I think it's so powerful right now, because we're able to tell our stories, we're able to show all this, and like I said, we have a chip on our shoulder because we're pissed, and like we want to be able to show this off and be like, this is what you tried to take away from us. Like, look how much strength it has. And like, look at the strength it does have.
Hey everyone, welcome to Venture Out, a podcast series from Entrepreneurth that shares the brave stories of Northerners who are inspiring innovation and community well-being through business. I'm your host, Zena Cowan.
We are fires across the tundra. We are ice of a million years. Our mothers, our fathers hold us. We stand together.
Okay, get ready to meet a remarkably cool and creative guy whose business is grounded in the phrase, look good, do good, feel good. He's a great storyteller and happens to be one of the most self-aware and reflective people I know. And I think that has played a big part in his development as a flourishing artist and entrepreneur. Who am I talking about? I'll give you a hint. He's an Inuk based out of Arviat, Nunavut, whose clothing designs are rocked all across the north and even on runways in Toronto and Paris. So if you guessed the name Nooks Lindell, you're bang on. Nooks is the lead designer and co-owner of Hinaani Design, which is an apparel brand that celebrates Inuit culture and language, as well as the vast beauty of the Arctic landscape. In this episode, you'll hear the creation story behind Hinaani, and you'll also hear Nooks' own transformation journey. Whenever I get to visit with him, I'm always really struck by his calm, laid-back openness and his vulnerability and his humor too. He's the sort of person where, if you see them at a party, you just sort of make a beeline for them and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to spend the whole evening talking to you. And I think in service to other people, Nooks is always willing to share the difficult times that he's lived through and how he's used those moments as launching pads for his healing and art, and most importantly, his reconnection to family. Speaking of family, in this episode, you're also going to meet Nooks' cousin, Lori Tagoona, who is also part of the Hinaani team. Nooks and Lori didn't grow up seeing themselves represented in mainstream media. But today, they're totally turning that around with Hinaani, and they're part of a movement, a fast-growing, active movement that's driven by Inuit and other Indigenous creatives who are breaking new ground. By the way, Hinaani means at the flow edge, or to be on the edge of something. And I think that perfectly illustrates where Nooks has come to be. So let's dive in.
Keenan Nooks Lindell ngayong Inuk Arviat muto yung. Keenan Nooks Lindell Inuk from Arviat Nunavut, and I'm lead designer for Hinaani Design. Hinaani is a Inuit apparel brand, and there's 4 of us in the crew. Me and Emma Kruger are here in Arviat. Lori Tagoona is in Inuit, and Paula Rumbold is in Kivalliq, Baker Lake. So Hinaani creates designs, jewelry, and clothing for Inuit and Northerners. Our inspiration is where we live and our culture, and the love and inspiration we get from the wildlife and environment we live in and the culture we have. That's what drives our designs, and we found that a lot of people share the same love. So being able to wear that in casual, kind of everyday clothing is the service we try to provide. And a lot of different designs and a lot of different styles for men and women. And we try to have a wide variety of designs for everybody. You can have clothing that kind of helps express your love for your culture and land, but also to express your individuality.
Nice. I'm just looking at your website right now, and I'm seeing a gorgeous array of caps and dresses and tees, hoodies, and accessories too. And some have a really bright color palette, and you're using seafoam greens and powder pinks. And then you also use a lot of black. And quite a few styles are labeled as unisex or gender fluid. But they've all got very distinct design elements that are strong, and some are really cheeky and playful. And I know that they really pop against the ice and tundra of a northern community. And they also totally stand out on the streets of like downtown Toronto. Nooks, tell me about traditional Inuit clothing and fashion and how Hinaani sort of fits into this.
Clothing has always been a part of Inuit culture, every culture, but with Inuit, there's a very special connection to it because it was so essential. We live in the cold, and it was very important to have good quality clothing. But Inuit didn't just stop there. They put a lot into how the clothing looked as well as its use. And you see that today with so many people sewing beautiful parkas, mitts, hats, and with newer materials, but that's still a very strong part of our culture. So where Hinaani comes in is the more modern, where like the stuff Inuit we're creating is mainly outdoor apparel, whereas Hinaani is more the stuff you wear inside and the stuff you wear, like kind of everyday, casually. And we noticed that there was a gap there, that there wasn't really Inuk stuff that you could wear, like t-shirts and leggings and caps. And me, myself, I've been designing caps for so long, since I was, in high school, and in middle school, and I never actually thought it would be possible. So when I figured out that you could actually make custom caps, man, that was a happy day.
That's awesome, Nooks. And now that I think of it, I've never seen you without a cap on. And at any event or gathering that you and I have been at together, you have always been the best dressed dude in the room. I want to start our conversation by asking you about where you live, because I know it plays a really profound role in your design work and also your pride as an Inuk. So, you and your incredible partner, Emma, who is also part of the Hinaani crew, and your 2 little ones are based in the gorgeous Arviat, Nunavut. Can you situate us?
It's cold and it's flat. Yeah, anybody who's like been to Saskatchewan, like think of that, but even flatter and with no trees. But yeah, like you said, it's a beautiful place. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. It's a great town with that speaks a lot of Inuktitut. The town is about 3,000 people, pretty tight knit. Everybody knows everybody. Very free. Like you could just hop on the snowmobile and just go for a rip, kind of anywhere, and or the ATV, depending on what season. And yeah, I love Arviat.
And how would you describe the folks from Arviat?
Not like anywhere else. Very funny, very good sense of humor. Also very friendly and very helpful. Yeah, what can I say about Arviat? Very good sense of humor. We're famous for our radio station, Arviat, which translates to the sound of Arviat. Yeah, it's kind of famous all over Nunavut for kind of how random it is and how awesome it is. People will just go on and either sell stuff or, tell their kids to go home, or they'll have contests where people just tell the funniest stories and people get to vote. And yeah, it's a great place to live because of where it's at, and mostly the people here, all the great people here. And the Inuktitut is very strong, which is one of the things I love the most.
Nooks, do you speak Inuktitut fluently?
No, not totally. I struggle with it a lot. I grew up fluent, but actually at about age 7, we moved to Ottawa because my mom became a member of parliament for Nunavut. In about 1 year is all it took me to almost forget all of my Inuktitut and learn English. And for the past over 10 years, maybe 15 years, I've been trying to regain my fluency, and it's definitely a struggle. And that's part of the reason why we have Hinaani, and because I grew up, like a lot of Inuit, and like a lot of Inuit with being half Inuk, half white. My dad was white. A lot of identity issues when I was growing up. I guess to me, like being Inuk wasn't cool, and I definitely struggled with my identity of being an Inuk or not feeling Inuk enough, even still to this day.
That identity struggle is a tough one, and I appreciate you sharing that you're still working through it and that it's been a driver behind Hinaani. Plus, as you shared, you experienced the added challenge of leaving Arviat and moving down south at a young age. I would guess that your mom worked really hard to preserve culture and language at your home in Ottawa.
Yeah, she definitely thought about it, and she definitely tried her best to make sure I kept my Inuktitut. We often traveled back to Arviat for holidays, multiple times a year for spring fishing and geese hunting, and for summers and for Christmas. And even in our home in Ottawa, she mostly spoke to me in Inuktitut. It got to a point where I got frustrated because she kept telling me I got to speak Inuktitut. And I remember one point lashing back and saying, why? Because everybody here speaks English and I'm way behind on English, but you're telling me to speak Inuktitut, but it's not doing me any good here. And I'm trying the best as I can to be better at English so I don't, feel stupid and fuck. Yeah, I'm the worst at English, and you're telling me to speak another language that nobody else speaks. So, but no matter how much shit I gave her, I guess. She still never gave up, and I'm eternally thankful to her for that.
Yeah, that must have been really difficult for both you and your mom. And you're feeling confused, and she's doing her best to make everything work. In hindsight, looking back on those years and your relationship with her, what was the greatest gift she gave you, do you think?
Love. That's something that, I don't know, it's something I guess you don't realize until you're a parent as well. Yeah, not everybody grew up the way I did, and you start finding that out as you get older. You start noticing that everybody's lives are different, and some things that you thought everybody kind of had in their lives, they don't. And you grow there, you see the effects it has. And I went through really dark times, but I always knew that I was loved. We grew up in a very big family, a well-respected family, and I liked that my grandparents were so well respected for being good people and helpful around the community, and good hunters, and very generous and very wise, and so much so that they gave us a privilege that you can't buy with money. I can go almost anywhere in Nunavut, even outside of Nunavut, and all I have to say is, I'm Kivalliq Rhoda's grandson, or I'm Johnny Kagatak's grandson, and I'm instantly welcomed into the home. Yeah, it's like a kind of privilege you can't buy. So my mom raised us knowing that we were privileged, but then also reminding us that it doesn't make you better than anybody, and to treat everybody fairly and equally.
When Nooks was a young boy, his father, who he had always seen as a superhero, passed away. This, combined with other struggles that Nooks was facing, brought up a lot of pain and anxiety within him that he carried around wherever he went. And for years, Nooks did what he could to protect himself and suppress the darkness. Nooks, you and I have had some really good conversations about addiction because we're both in recovery and we experienced some really dark moments with our alcoholism. How long were you in it? And by in it, I mean actively drinking.
I would say about 10 years, over 10 years, just over 10 years, because I started about 12, 13, and definitely not every day. It was just whenever I could get a hold of it. Yeah, till about 22. I knew I had a problem, but I didn't want to admit it because I knew that meant stopping. I knew that I couldn't just have a couple drinks, and that was usually the suggestion by people, talking to me, just to talk to me about my drinking. It was usually, you don't need to stop. It's just you need to stop drinking so much. And then I would agree, but knowing in the back of my head being like, no, I can't do that. Because once I have a drink, I have to go all out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried the controlled drinking thing and it was just beyond painful. I could not do it.
Yeah, me too. The first year, I tried to give myself 2 drinks maximum, and I did it, but it was painful. Like, yeah, it was like I would cherish those two drinks, and then I couldn't act normal. It's like I was constantly always thinking like, am I drinking this too fast or too slow? Like, and then constantly thinking about the next drink or the next. And yeah, like I was saying, as soon as I kind of like fed the beast, it's like you get that urge, and then it becomes so much harder.
After a while, Nooks got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he made the conscious decision to get sober. He had support from his partner, Emma, but it wasn't an easy process, as anybody in recovery will tell you. Nooks left Ottawa and went back up north, and this was the beginning of a defining new chapter that led him to ask, who am I, and what am I here to do? Nooks, what were you feeling during those early days in sobriety?
And like, I thought I was funny, but maybe I'm not. Like, maybe it was just the booze, because I don't feel funny at all. Like, I just feel like I'm depressing everybody I'm around, and like, oh man, I kind of had like, I kept asking myself like, who am I? Because I'm lost right now. A lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-hatred, and when it started turning around was one of the biggest things was me and my brother, luckily my brother was in Inuit. I was at Inuit at the time. We would go to his shack, and he likes working on ulus and jewelry. I think that was even before he did jewelry. He was just starting to make stuff too, and he asked me if I wanted to work with him, and I said sure. I didn't have a huge interest in it, and I started working on everything, and I was very unsure of myself and kind of even scared of all the tools. I wasn't very good at all, and I think it took me like 3 weeks to make my first ulu. It was kind of a piece of shit. And like, I screwed up so many times, and I was like, this is not for me. And my brother kept saying like, well, finish it at least. Like, even if it's not for you, you started it, you finish it. That's my one rule. And I said, okay, yeah, whatever. So yeah, I remember working really hard on it. It was the third handle that I made because the first two broke. And then finally I put the pins in, and then I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I finished it. Fuck. And put it on upside down. And I think I took a break for like a month after that, because I was like, yeah, this is not my thing. But luckily, somehow, my brother convinced me to give it another shot. And the second ulu, I learned from my mistakes, and yeah, it was a lot nicer. And yeah, I started getting really into it, and then I started making more and more stuff. And kind of when you're in the shack, it's almost like the safe space where you could talk, or if you don't want to talk, you just do your thing. And because we're using power tools anyway, so it's loud. You get to work with your hands. So, you're using your head, your mind, your body. Start kind of forgetting about all the other stuff that's happening. And then it started being that I would wake up in the morning being like, okay, I got an idea. I want to work on this. I want to make that. And then slowly, it's almost like I replaced one addiction with the other. Because instead of thinking about booze constantly, just being like, don't drink, which was horrible. Like, it started being like, okay, now I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about technique, and I'm drawing out things. So I started drawing again, and then I started calling family members because I'm like, okay, who do I know that knows about this stuff? My Uncle Joe, who's also a recovering, but he's also really good at making stuff. So giving him a call, and then a call about how do you do this, like asking questions about how to make ulus turns into a 3-hour conversation about ulus and family and your past and how past traumas can make you want to drink and like recovery and all that. And then you call my aunts and to talk about ulus, and that turns into a 3-hour conversation. And then I start visiting my aunts, their ulus, and then asking about them and what they like most about them. And of course you get tea, you get fed, you get all that love you're missing out on. And then those 10 years I spent kind of separating away from my family, going further and further, this one thing of just making stuff, making ulus, something related to my culture, started kind of putting all those pieces I kind of was missing back into place. And I started feeling better, and like you said, not white knuckles or whatever. And so everything kind of started coming together, and I started kind of finding myself again, as cheesy as that sounds. But yeah, it really, really worked. Getting addicted to something else.
This new love affair with making and creating completely transformed Nooks's world. He had loved to draw as a little boy and was now rediscovering his artistic talents and his deep appreciation for family, for the Arctic, and for his Inuit culture. A seed had been planted, and he knew that he wanted to do something creative, not alone, but with others. So in 2016, he and 3 women, Emma Kruger, his partner, Lori Tagoona, and Paula Rumbold, came together and decided to start making clothing. And right away, customers were like, oh, this is hot stuff. Okay, little throwback, Nooks. When you and the crew first launched Hinaani, what were those designs that really took off and put you guys on the map?
The first kind of 2 products that really set us off was the Inuk t-shirt, which was pretty simple. It just said Inuk with the X of with the cross of the Kivalliq and the Inuk, which Kivalliq is a fish spear and the Inuk is harpoon for whales and seals. So it was just very simple, but it got the point across. You're Inuk. And the leggings. This was right around the time Alicia came out with Dunit, her documentary about the revitalization of the history and revitalization of face tattoos, Inuit face tattoos. And before then, it was something that was, I didn't know much about it as a kid. We didn't grow up really learning about them or anything. And there was right around that time, because of that, thanks to Alicia, I think anyways, there was a huge surge in the Inuit tattoos. Also at that time where, a lot of Inuit were ready to reclaim their culture, and face tattoos and kind of tattooing, leg tattoos, wrist tattoos was a real powerful way to do it, to bring that back, because that was something that was banned and discouraged. So having those on leggings was really, really popular, because while people were drawing out their tattoos and trying to find the perfect ones. This way they could just wear them and be able to change the next day. While people are kind of drawing out the ones that were going to be permanent. And just like the Inuk T-shirt, it showed people that you were Inuk and you were proud.
Your designs are really reflective of the times and of this elevation of cultural pride across Inuit communities and Indigenous communities at large. And it's coming through like a huge force in art and politics and filmmaking and clothing and social media too. And that's a big shift from how things were before, even when you were growing up. Like there was just so little representation and visibility of Inuit culture on large platforms.
We didn't have social media like we did right now, but yeah, everything was kind of like whitewashed. Everything in pop culture didn't show our culture. And I guess kind of naturally when I was like early teens, I wanted to be like that. And Inuit, weren't on the internet, weren't on TV. And it seemed like something that was old, something that was like dying off, right? And yeah, and during the time that we started and even before then, there was that surge of not just Inuit culture, but Indigenous culture. And I think that had to do a lot with internet because Indigenous storytellers and artists were able to share their stories, share their artworks in a really powerful way and have their own platform because of social media. And yeah, it kind of just exploded from there. And so I know definitely we were proud to be Inuk, but for myself, I'm speaking for myself now, that I knew there was a point where I wasn't. And I wanted to be able to be part of a change where like Inuk things are all over the place. And I want to be able to show partly how awesome Inuit are. And my way of doing that is through art.
When Hinaani was just beginning and Nooks was thinking about who his ideal customer would be, he right away thought of his cousin, Lori. Lori is super stylish and beautiful. She knows what she's doing on the land, and she's also a great beadwork artist. Once Lori saw the products that Hinaani was coming out with, she was hooked and had big visions for where the brand could go. So in addition to becoming a sort of ideal customer muse, Lori actually joined the Hinaani team and began building some really exciting partnerships that have showcased Hinaani's designs all over the world. She and Nooks also worked together on Hinaani's Hinaugait line, which features a limited, highly exclusive collection of handmade products like jewelry, traditional clothing, and uluit. They even make traditional headpieces that look like crowns and are, as they say, for Inuit queens. Lori, tell me about your relationship with Nooks.
Well, Nooks is my cousin, and we grew up together, so we've known each other our whole lives. We think in high school we were friends. We had similar friend circles. We also worked together one summer with I think it was the Kivalliq outreach program, and we were youth coordinators. And during that summer, we organized a soccer camp, and Nooks developed a logo for our soccer camp. And it was of a siksik, like an Arctic ground squirrel chewing on a soccer ball. So I think that might have been the first time Nooks developed a logo for something. Because he's my cousin, because we're both Qaqataqs, I feel like we've inherited this approach where if you're gonna make something, you have to do it well. Like you have to do your best to make it perfect, because it is a reflection of you. It's an expression of your identity.
Cool. And Lori, you've got a full-time job at Makeway, but you're also really committed to Hinaani. And it sounds like the whole thing has just been this big adventure for you and has brought you to some amazing places.
Yeah, like I love my job now. And I love that there's still constant support for me to be involved with Hinaani. And then like the other spaces that I've been in include Indigenous Fashion Week in Toronto. That was amazing. And we met with people from Greenland, people from across the north, and also like developed a taste for being in the fashion industry. Following that, we went to Paris with Victoria's Arctic Fashion, where I did do beadwork for the garments that were on the runway. I even modeled on a runway in Paris. I feel like when I'm old and gray, this is for sure something that I'll tell my grandkids. Yeah.
Yes, totally. And those are some big doors that have opened.
For sure, for sure. And like as a kid in Rankin, I would have never imagined that for myself or for us.
Mm. And when collaborative projects like Hinaani bring the right people together, the creative output and reach just go that much further. How would you explain the big success that you and the team have experienced over the last 6 years?
Well, the products are quality products, and they're an expression of identity. And we've reached a point where a hat that says Inuk says a lot, and where we find pride in being Inuk. Like 30, 40 years ago, through different colonial practices, we were made to feel shame in ourselves. But we've come a long way since then, where we're decolonizing and unpacking that shame and celebrating our culture and identity and our expression. And also there's a movement around new ways to express identity and culture. I think all cultures are fluid, all cultures change, and we're part of that movement, but we're still very much grounded in our foundation as Inuit. And like Nooks designs products that have meaning, and things that have truth and meaning will withstand everything, like, and they'll persist.
Uh-huh. And it's finding those ways to translate that meaning into art and clothing that conveys that cultural brilliance.
You know the expression, when you look good, feel good, do good? I feel like that plays a role here. Just thinking about some Inuit performers that choose to wear Hinaani products, and how proud I am to see them. And like, for example, Nooks sent me a picture of Beatrice Deer the other day wearing a Kivalliq, and she's on stage and she looks amazing. She looks confident, and like she's Inuit excellence. And so at different levels, like, we're proud of her for doing so well in her profession as an artist, like proud of her for being a trailblazer in this area, but also like wearing the Hinaani product, or not the Hinaani product, wearing the Inuit Kivalliq, like, and like for, I don't know, like, I feel like Inuit are always proud of each other or promote each other and celebrate each other. And like, it's positive to see Inuit excellence.
That song is called Snowblind, and it's by Tanya Tagaq from her 2019 EP, Toothsayer. When you unpack the impact behind a business like Hinaani, you realize that yes, it happens to exist at the right moment in time, but it's also a cultural driver that is directly influencing the times and what Inuit fashion and entrepreneurship look like today. And for Nooks, it's all wrapped up in shared success with other artists.
Yeah, I think it all seems pretty quick. We're very, very fortunate. And like I said, there was like, even right now, there's a rise in indigenous arts because we have so much like this rich history, this rich culture that they had laws in place to try and strip that away from us, to try and strip language away, to try and strip our culture away, to assimilate us. And it didn't work. It nearly worked. It did a ton of damage, but we're still here. And now we're on the rise because a lot of it to do with social media, because we can now tell our stories and show our art by ourselves through social media, because in the past we weren't in positions of power to be able to show this stuff, to tell our story. So now we could tell our own story, and we're doing it with attitude, because a lot of people are like outright like pissed. We're angry. Like this stuff tried to be taken away from us. We're still struggling with what happened to us through residential schools and other things that happened during colonization. And yeah, we have this culture that is so rich and so strong, and it's all coming out, like all the colors and all the sounds and everything like that. And it's like, it's real, and you could really feel that. And like that's why I think it's so powerful right now, because yeah, we're able to tell our stories. We're able to show all this. And like I said, we have a chip on our shoulder because we're pissed, and like we want to be able to show this off and be like, this is what you tried to take away from us. Like, look how much strength it has, and like look at the strength it does have.
Nooks, I really hear what you're saying about the collective power of storytelling, especially online and through social media, and the agency and power that comes with that. And there's this rebuilding and reclaiming that is happening, and it's bringing communities together and inspiring these incredible exchanges. Like, I know you've shared that some of your ulus have been purchased by Indigenous hide tanners down south, and they're using the ulu for their hide tanning practice. And this is a really great example of that kinship building. And the more that Hinaani is out there, the more opportunities you have to connect with other Indigenous creatives who are also designing pieces that are meant to ignite conversations and cultural confidence.
I get so happy and try to support artists that are doing similar things, because yeah, we have a vast culture and landscape and wildlife. So like, there's so many designs that you could do based on that, and it's always a little bit different in somebody else's eyes or in their region. Knowing that they have a passion in this, it's so good to see. And so you need to be able to feed that, to support them, and not try to bring them down and try to outdo them. No, support them. Yeah, just in design and like jewelry. Like, look at all these amazing beaters and carvers. Like, you can't beat that, man. You can't beat like the earring game that indigenous people have. Oh man, and it's just so cool to see. of the things I've kind of told everybody in the group, like right from the beginning, because everybody helps makes designs, is make it meaningful. You could make anything kind of look beautiful, but I find that when you have the meaning behind it, then it like it's so much more natural, and then it's so much easier.
And on that note of meaning and purpose, Nooks, what is something really important you have learned about entrepreneurship on this Hinaani journey?
Yeah, like going into business, you always hear that it's going to be tough, it's going to be difficult, but until you go through it, I don't think you could really prepare for how difficult it is. The hustle is physically tiring, mentally tiring. There's a lot of points where I wanted to give up, just be like, yeah, this is too much. I think the biggest thing I learned was that if you're going to go into a business, it be something that is very important to you, because that may sound kind of broad, or cheesy, but I think it's true, because you're going to go, no matter what kind of business you have, you're going to go through really hard times. And if you're not doing something that you love, not just that you love, that really you think is meaningful, that your work is not just for you, it's helping others. Like this is for myself, that I probably would have gave up if it wasn't something so meaningful to me. And I know that it's something that can potentially have an impact on my son and other Inuit. That's something that I definitely learned, that I was happy that we started a business that's doing something that is really meaningful to me and that I really love doing. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, like I keep saying. So all that, like running a business and all the logistics and everything, even all the like politics, it can really wear people down. There's a lot of artists out there that have work that would be beautiful on clothing, but it's not just about, being an artist, because there's that whole business side to it. And so I'm fortunate to have that team with me, to have Emma and Paula and Lori, that we can really spread that out and use each other's strengths, and to kind of use each other, like have each other, emotionally, and be able to talk about how hard it is, and to hold people accountable, but at the same time have a group to be like, you know what, this is too much, we can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And like be able to say no to a project and be like, this is too much, because when it comes down to it, like we're all a family, and if something's hurting you like mentally and just too much, then we could say like, yeah, it's not worth it. It's always okay to back out and say, yeah, sorry, we can't do this, because we really value family and each other, and that's more important than profit or opportunities. Is that relationship we all have with each other.
In this last part of our visit, I asked Nooks some rapid-fire questions before he had to sign off and go back to dad duty, which I know he loves. Nooks, where is your happy place?
Playing with my son or making a ulu in my shack.
Cool. What is something you love to treat yourself to?
Food.
Any particular kind of food?
Coffee and guac and mukdak. I don't know. I love every kind of food, man. I'll eat anything.
Nooks, if you could spend the day with anyone in the world, and they could be alive or they could have passed, who would it be?
My dad.
Nooks, what was your dad's name?
John Lindell.
John Lindell. Cool. Nooks, what is one business that you would like to see launched in Arviat?
Film production. I think it would work really good here. There's a lot of Inuk speakers here, a lot of creative people here, super funny people here. Then I think something similar to what Inuit has that I think can happen here, and we need jobs. And a lot of people here just not entertainers and storytellers.
Neat. And last question for you today, Nooks. Finish this sentence. Inuit entrepreneurship is
awesome.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed visiting with Nooks and Lori, and I know you're thinking, how can I get my hands on some Hinaani products? Well, they've got a great online store that does drop shipping. So visit hinaani.ca, that's HINAANI.ca, and follow them on Instagram too. Venture Out's production team includes myself and Travis Mercredi. Our theme song is called Fires Across the Tundra by the one and only Leela Gilday, and today's episode also featured the song Snowblind by Tanya Tagaq. Our next episode features one of the North's greatest movers and shakers, Katie Johnson. For real, if there is something happening in the Yukon related to arts and culture, I can guarantee that Katie is involved. She's a member of Kluane First Nation and is the owner of Bella Elite Events and Consulting. And she's also the co-founder of the Ataka Festival. Katie's mission is to bring people together in really beautiful and unique ways, and she offers them life-changing experiences through culture. I deeply admire Katie's work ethic, as well as her ability to dream big and make things happen. She's also a lot of fun, so you won't want to miss our conversation. You can find Venture Out on all your favorite podcast platforms. And if you like what you're hearing, please give us a rating. We'd love to hear from you, so reach out through Entrepreneur's Instagram and Facebook, or you can send us an email at podcast@entrepreneurth.ca. See you next time.
We are fires across the tundra.